Hi, I'm psychology professor Bruce Hinrichs. In this video, I'm going to give you a few tips about how to improve your memory. I hope it works. There are three things you have to be good at if you want to have a good memory. The first one is called encoding. This simply means to get information into your brain. Second is storage, what we call consolidation. This means the physical process of storing or keeping that information in your brain by creating neural networks. Third, to have a good memory, you have to be able to get the information out when you want it, exactly the information you want. This is called retrieval. Okay, let's get at how to improve your memory. The first step is encoding, getting information into your brain. You can't remember something if you don't pay attention. So the most important factor in memory is paying attention. A lot of people say to me, I have a bad memory. And I say, no, you don't. You have a bad attention payer. Learn to pay attention. Your memory will improve 100%. This woman is not paying attention. She's going to make sushi pancakes. Paying attention is critical for memory. Learn how to pay attention. Everyone says they're bad at remembering names. Here's how to remember names. First step is pay attention. So you're at a party, you meet these four people. The first person comes up to you and says, my name is Malcolm. Say his name back to him. Hi, Malcolm. Nice to meet you, Malcolm. This forces you to pay attention. The second step is to use cues. Look at his face and find some cue that you can associate with the word Malcolm. For example, maybe you see the letter M in his hairline, or maybe the letter M is in his eyebrows and his nose, or maybe the word Malcolm makes you think of the TV show Malcolm in the Middle, and he has a big nose in the middle of his face. This associates with Malcolm. Next, you meet this woman called Victoria. Look at her chin. It's a V shape, and she's very cute. I'm sure she's victorious with men. Don't look at her clothes. Don't associate with clothes. Associate with face, because if a person wears different clothes, you won't know their name. Make an association with the face. Next comes Orville. So say it back to him. Hi, Orville. Nice to meet you, Orville. And then look at his face and see the letter O. Maybe think of Orville Redenbacher, the popcorn guy. Maybe think of Orville, Orville Wright, the airplane guy. He's an airplane guy. See his glasses or whatever. So make an association between his face and the word Orville. Next, we meet Shannon. Hi, Shannon. Nice to meet you. Shannon is an Irish name, so think of her as an Irish lass with the red hair, and see the letter S in her hairline. Do you see it? Okay, this is how we use cues to remember names. Okay, you tell me the names of these four people. The guy on the left, and the cute girl, and the guy with the glasses, his name is, and the woman with the glasses, her name is, how'd you do? Let's try it again. On the left, we have Ophelia. Hi, Ophelia. Nice to meet you. Look at the face. Connect it to the word Ophelia. Next, we have Jason. Can you see a J in his face? Who do you know named Jason? What does the word Jason mean to you? Connect it to his face. Next, we have Edward. Edward. Do you know someone named Edward? Can you see an E, letter E? And then Brenda. Find the letter B. Think of the word Brenda. What does it mean to you? Connect it to the face. Are you getting better at this? Okay, what are the names? The woman on the left is named, and the guy in the middle is, in the upper right we have, and finally the woman on the right is. How'd you do on this? Are you getting better? If you want to get good at encoding information, you should pay attention and use cues. Here's another idea. Use what we call active processing. Actively, mentally work with the information you're trying to remember. Analyze it, think about it, judge it, do whatever you have to actively process it. Active processing means that you think about the information you want to remember later. Structural processing means you just look at it. You're not going to remember it very well. Acoustic processing, you just listen to it. You're not going to remember it well, but better than structural. Semantic processing, thinking about the meaning of it, that's what helps memory. Here we have what is called the memory pyramid. This tells us the percent that we're able to remember when we do various kinds of study, like lecture, not very good, reading, not so good, audiovisual, a little bit better, demonstration, a little bit better, discussion, because that involves actively processing, thinking about it, practice doing it with your body, and then teaching other people. If you want to remember something, teach it to other people. That is the best way to remember. Psychologists have discovered that taking tests on some information is even better than studying it over and over again. This is called the testing effect. So when you're trying to remember something, keep testing yourself on it. Testing requires that you think about the information, you pull it out of memory, and then put it back into storage. This helps you remember it. Should you study something all at once, which is called massed practice, or should you spread out your practice? Should you distribute it in what is called spaced practice? Well, all the research shows what we call the spacing effect. Spaced practice is better. So space out when you want to learn something, remember something, space out your practice. What do emotions have to do with memory? Okay, emotions help you encode information. So being emotional helps you get information into your brain, but it interferes with recall. Later, we're going to talk about retrieval, and emotions interfere with that. So you want to be calm when you're retrieving, but you want to be emotional when you're encoding. Being emotional helps you remember. So squeeze a ball or something when you're trying to learn something to cause adrenaline to flow in your body. That adrenaline helps encoding engrams in your brain, the memory circuits in your brain. Now, when you have a very, very emotional situation, you remember it very well. This is called a flashbulb memory, like a flashbulb flashing in your eyes. You remember it very, very well for a long time. Here's a cartoon about flashbulb memory. All the forest animals remember exactly where they were and what they were doing when they heard that Bambi's mother had been shot. Yes, I was down by the edge of the lake at the time. So this is called flashbulb memory. A very emotional event causes us to remember very clearly where we were and what we were doing. Let's summarize so far. We're talking about encoding, how to improve your memory by getting information into your brain. Number one, pay attention. If you don't pay attention, you're not going to remember. This is the key to having a good memory, is learn how to pay attention. Secondly, use cues. Associate something with the material you're trying to remember so that you can later trigger it and retrieve it more easily. Third, use active processing. Think about the material. Think about it in an active way. Fourth, don't forget to teach other people. The memory pyramid shows that teaching others helps our memory the best. Fifth, the testing effect. Be sure to test yourself over and over and over again. This will help your memory. The spacing effect, space out your practice. Don't make it all at once. And emotions. Emotions will help you encode, but be careful. You don't want to be emotional when you retrieve. That interferes with recall. Okay, encoding is the first step. The second step is storage. This is what we call consolidation, the making of engrams. Engrams are neural networks that are biologically made in your brain. It turns out we have two different kinds of memory: declarative memories, which are hippocampus, an important part of our brain that helps to make the engrams. And if you have a disruption in your brain, like a bump on the head or a car accident. For example, Princess Diana died in a car accident. Her bodyguard survived, but he had no recall of the accident because he had bumped his head. He had a concussion. and this interfered with the making of the memory engrams. That is called retrograde amnesia. The other kind of memory is called procedural memory, which we don't use our hippocampus for. We use our cerebellum and our amygdala. Storage, then, is something that goes on, a biological process in your brain of creating what we call memory engrams, the neural networks in your brain that will represent the memory and that later we can retrieve it. Now, here's something important. We encode information, get it into our brain, and then we store it. The storage usually happens when we're sleeping, but sometimes when we're awake, and storage takes a little bit of time, maybe an hour, depends on the information, some fast, some slow. And then third is retrieval. Retrieval is when we get the information out of memory and bring it into our mind, and then when we're done thinking about it, we put it back into storage. This is called reconsolidation. And this is important because reconsolidation means that the memory goes back into storage with any alterations that you made. So when you recall a memory, if you embellish it, if you exaggerate it, if you add details that weren't there, the memory goes back. Reconsolidation means the memory goes back into storage with those alterations. So when you retrieve information, when you recall, the memory becomes vulnerable to becoming a false memory because you can store it. Now, this is important for therapy. So, for example, if people have memories that are upsetting to them, that cause them huge discomfort, like in PTSD or anxiety, we can treat that with a type of exposure therapy called reconsolidation therapy, in which we ask the person to recall the event that they're upset about, but while they're relaxed. So you try to get very, very calm, very, very relaxed. Sometimes you can move your eyes around, and that will distract you from getting upset. But you don't have to move your eyes around. Any kind of calm mood, and then recall the memory that upsets you while you're calm. Then when that memory goes back into storage, it has calmness attached to it. There are three categories of retrieval. Here they are in the order of most difficult to most easy. The most difficult is called free recall. That's when you have to think of something just with no help, no clues. What's the capital of California? I give you no hints, no clues. You have to come up with it. That's called free recall. That's very difficult. Number two is called cued recall. In this retrieval, we have a cue. We have something that helps us find what we're trying to remember. So if I say the capital of California starts with an S, that narrows it down, that helps. So this is why we add cues to information when we encode the information, because cued recall is much, much, much easier than free recall. And so, for example, when you're learning people's names, attach a cue to their name from their face. This will help tremendously later in retrieving and remembering the name. And third, the easiest kind of retrieval is called recognition. This is like a multiple choice test or just recognizing somebody's face. Recognition is the easiest type of retrieval, so we want to try to make as much as we can information recognizable or cued recall for ease of retrieval. Retrieval depends on encoding. That's why encoding is so important, because you will retrieve information the same way that you encoded it. When you put information into your brain, it comes out exactly the same way. So, for example, try to name the months of the year in alphabetical order. Go. April, August. It's very slow because you didn't put them in alphabetical order, so it's very difficult. You have to do a bunch of cognitive stuff to get them out in alphabetical order. You bring them out in chronological order, the way you put them in: January, February, March, April, May, and so on. So retrieval is depending on encoding. Therefore, encoding is very, very important, that you put information into your brain in an organized way. Get organized. If you have a long list of things to remember, or if you're studying and you have a whole chapter to study. We have what is called the serial position effect. What this tells us is the first things on the list, the first part of the chapter, is a little bit easier to remember because there's nothing that comes in front of it. So we call that the primacy effect. And then the last things in the list or the end of the chapter, nothing comes after it to interfere with it. So it's a little bit easier to remember. We call that a recency effect. It's the stuff in the middle that's the most difficult. So when you have a list of things to memorize, you have to spend twice as much time on the middle as you do on the beginning or the end. This is the serial position effect. Let's try having some fun. Let's try a memory test. Look at these words. I'll give you some time to look at them and try to memorize as many of them as you can. So read through the words, memorize as many of them as you can. Ready? I'm going to end it. Ready? All right, now let's hear you say the words. How many of those words can you remember? How many can you get? There were 18 words. How many do you have? You ready for the answers? Here are the words. How many did you remember? Look them over. How many did you get? Now, let's learn something about memory. You probably remembered the words at the beginning of the list, that's called primacy effect, and the words at the end of the list, that's called recency effect. So you probably remember dream and pillow, for example, the first and last words. You probably remembered artichoke because it's so different from the other words. That's called the surprise effect. You probably got the word night. It happened 3 times in the list. That's called the repetition effect. But did you remember seeing the word sleep? It was not on the list. This is called a false memory effect. You remember the word sleep because there were so many words on the list that went logically together with sleep. Let's learn some memory tricks that memory experts use. There are many, many of these. I can't teach you all of them in this short video. There are many different memorization techniques that you can look up books and you can look on websites and find more of them. But I'm going to introduce you to a few of these. These memory tricks that we use are called mnemonic devices. Mnemonic, that's a Greek word that means memory. It's spelled kind of funny. It's pronounced mnemonic. So I'm going to show you some mnemonic devices. There are many, many different mnemonic tricks that you can use, gimmicks, associations that you can use. I'm going to show you a few of them. Let's start with one that's fun and that you probably know about. If, say, a child wants to learn how many days are there in each month, there's a couple different mnemonic devices you can use to do this. One is a rhyme. 30 days hath September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31 except February, which is very weird. So the rhyme works. 30 days hath September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31 except February. Or you can use the knuckle method. Close your fist, start at a knuckle January, go into the groove February, go on a knuckle March, and you just go from knuckle to groove to knuckle to groove all the way to the end, and then you start over again because July and August have both 31 days, so they have to be on a knuckle. So when you're on a knuckle, that's 31 days. When you're in the groove, it's less than 31. Here, it's a more cool mnemonic devices. You want to remember the names of the Great Lakes? Use the word HOMES, H-O-M-E-S. This is an acronym that helps you remember the names. H for Huron, O for Ontario, M for Michigan, E for Erie, S for Superior. If you want to memorize them in order from west to east, Superman helps everyone. Superman helps everyone. Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, Ontario. Okay, the planets from the sun. My very excited mother just served us 9 pizzas. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. You might say, wait a minute, Pluto's not a planet anymore. Okay, fine. My very excited mother just served us no Pluto. Number 3, the color spectrum. Roy G. Biv. Number 4, you have trouble spelling the word rhythm? Yes, everybody has trouble spelling that word. Just remember this sentence. Rhythm helps your 2 hips move. Rhythm helps your 2 hips move. The first letter of each word spells out rhythm. There's some mnemonic devices. A mnemonic device that's very old and very, very good at helping you remember is called the peg word method. What you do is you memorize a set of peg words that go with numbers. It's best if they rhyme. So 1 is a bun, 2 is a shoe, 3 is a tree, 4 is a door, 5 is a hive, 6 is a pile of sticks, 7 is heaven, 8 is gate, 9 is line, 10 is hen. And then when you want to learn a list, you associate in some weird way the first thing with a bun, the second item with a shoe, the third with a tree, and so on. Let's try it. Now we're going to try the peg word method. You're going to remember this list of 10 words very easily. Number 1 is calendar. So in your mind, you need to associate the word calendar with bun. So imagine yourself eating a bun and there's a calendar in there or something like that. Or you look at a calendar and a bun jumps out. The second word is shovel, and 2 is a zoo. You go to the zoo and you're looking and you see a shovel inside a cage. What the heck's a shovel doing in there? 3 is bread. 3 is a tree, so bread and tree. So bread is growing on trees. Imagine it, picture it in your mind. 4 is a door. The fourth word is telephone. So imagine a door is a telephone. Imagine your cell phone is a door. 5 is a hive. And the fifth word is yesterday. So yesterday there was a beehive. Yesterday, oh, I got bit by a bee from the beehive. 6 is sticks, magazine, a magazine made of sticks. Picture it, make a weird picture in your mind. 7 is heaven, there's a desk. Oh, up in heaven, I sit at the desk. Make a picture. 8 is gate, pancake. Oh, I'm going out of the house on my white picket fence. Oh, there's a pancake instead of a gate, there's a pancake. Picnic. Number 9 is line, so a line picnic, a line of ants at the picnic. I'm having a picnic, there's a line of ants. 10 is a hen, illustration. Oh, I'm going to draw an illustration of a hen. Okay, did you make pictures of each one? Let's test you now. All right, I have the peg words here for you to help you, but you should memorize those because you won't have those in front of you, so you need to memorize all those peg words. So 1 is a bun. What was the first word? 2 is a zoo. What was at the zoo? 3 is a tree. What's the third word? What was in the tree? 4 is a door. What is the door? 5 is hive. Okay, what about the hive? 6 is sticks. Did you picture something with sticks? What is it? 7 is heaven. What'd you picture in heaven? 8 is a gate. What did you picture in your mind? A gate goes with 9 is a line. What is a line? A line of what? Yeah, did you get the, yeah. 10 is a hen. All right, let's check and see. How many did you get right? Did you get all 10? Did you get 8? Did you get 6? Anyway, this is peg word method is a very good method you can learn, and then you can learn lists of things very, very rapidly by doing this association. And by the way, the more you do it, the better you get at it. All right, what if you want to remember numbers? Numbers are abstract, so they're very difficult to memorize. One way we do a memorization technique, a mnemonic device for numbers, is called the major system. And each digit you memorize this. Each digit is a consonant in the alphabet. Then you can fill in vowels later. So 0 is S or Z, 1 is a T or a D or a TH, 2 is N, 3 is M, 4 is R, 4, 5 is L, make your hand an L, the 5 fingers make an L, 6, ch, sh, 7, if you put a line by the 7, you get a K, the hard C sound. 8, if you write out an 8, it looks like an F. If you cursive F is an 8. And 9 is either a P or a B. So, for example, if you have the number 927975643, you change that into pink pickle charm. Or the number 962199143 equals pushing the baby tram. Or this big long number I'm showing you here is take a chance on the spinning numbers. So this technique helps people learn numbers, and memory experts use the major system all the time to memorize long lists of numbers. In fact, I've memorized 400 digits of pi, mostly using this system. Here's another mnemonic device. It's called the method of loci. Loci means locations. Sometimes this is called building a memory palace. So you first have memorized some locations, like in your house or your drive from home to work or something like you've memorized a set of locations. And then when you want to memorize some new items, you mentally place the items in the order of your drive to work or in the order of when you come in the house, the things you see, and so on. This is method of loci. Another mnemonic device that you probably already do, when you want to memorize a list of items, you make a story about those items. This is called chaining. The reason it works so good is that each word then cues the next word. So you made a chain when you make a story. Okay, that's it. I hope those memory tips will help you. Be sure to check out my other videos. Bye.